We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be real. Welcome to Your Aunty Talks Sex, the space where we talk about intimacy, emotion, and the layers in between. No awkwardness, no hype, just real talk. Let's get into it. I have a question from a listener. How do you find calm in today's hyperactive world? So I'm going to filter it, of course, through the sexuality lens. And one thing he nailed is calm does feel rare these days. I mean, everything is fast. We have notifications, scrollings, opinions, expectations, and we start to feel like we have to match that speed. And desire doesn't show up well in a mind that's constantly busy, anxious, or comparing itself to what it thinks it should be. Sexuality doesn't thrive in chaos. It needs space. And calm isn't just about getting away from the noise. It's about getting closer to yourself. We often think of sexuality as a body thing, and it is, but it starts in the brain. And most of our brains, completely overstimulated. We're multitasking, emotions, filtering through content, and carrying stress that never seems to shut off. And when that's your baseline, it's no wonder desire gets confusing or hard to access. For me, this all started early. I became aware of physical sensation when I was quite young, long before I had language or understanding around it. As a teenager, I was surrounded by messages that layered guilt onto that awareness. I was raised in a religious environment where even natural curiosity was treated like something to be ashamed of. So I learned from a very young age to associate sexual pleasure with shame. I didn't just feel desire, I also felt like I had to fight it. And that mix, compulsion and guilt, it's a storm. You're trying so hard to control something that's actually natural. And instead of finding calm, you find tension, mental, emotional, physical. That created tug of war inside of me, physical need on one side, guilt on the other. It took years before I could separate the shame from truth. That's why I believe calm begins when we stop resisting the realness of our own experience. Sometimes just asking yourself, what am I actually feeling right now, is enough to shift your relationship with your desire, whether it's for sex, for comfort, or just for peace. The body is often where we look for release, but it can also be where we find presence. Sexual expression, whether with someone else or with ourselves, can absolutely offer calm, but only if we're really into it, not just rushing through it. After my marriage ended, I went through a season of exploring. I had a number of short-term connections, some meaningful and some disappointing. But what I started to notice was that calm didn't come from the act itself. It came from whether I was in my body or just going through the motions. I've also noticed how touch, even self-directed, can either reconnect me or distract me. There's a difference between trying to escape your stress and trying to meet yourself gently in the middle of it. The act might look the same, but the intention feels completely different. The key isn't to use your body for calm, it's to listen to it. Slow down, breathe. Don't chase a result. Just ask, am I here? Can I stay here a little longer? That's when calm begins to rise. We live in a hyperactive world that treats calm like a reward or something you earn. But sometimes calm is found in just reclaiming the quiet parts of yourself including your sexuality. It's not about avoiding stimulation. It's about choosing what kind. I have a thoughtful question. It's one that a lot of guys don't even think to ask about, and it's, why are certain men who see women every day so against women in the media? And I think this question taps into something deeper about how men are socialized, but again, I'm going to focus on how it relates to us on a sexuality basis. So even though men interact with women every day, mothers, co-workers, friends, there's often a disconnect between how they see women in their personal lives, the women that they know, and then how they react to women who are visible, vocal, or powerful in the media, the ones that they don't know. And some of that discomfort comes from the way many were raised. Often they're taught, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly, that masculinity is about control or being the one who leads. This unconscious script isn't just taught to us, perhaps by our upbringing, but through generational, cultural, and historical rules. We look at media. They also revolve around those rules of pleasing men. We'll often get the caregiver, the love interest, the object of desire. So when we come across a woman in the media who owns her body or her voice or her sexuality, they're stepping outside those rules. And it can challenge the story that some men have built their identity around. Again, especially when that image, that woman, doesn't cater to the man's expectation. This can cause major discomfort. To emotionally buffer themselves, it might be well, if I can laugh at her or knock her down, I don't have to feel threatened. And it sort of plays back into an old psychological idea. It's called the Madonna horror complex, and it's pretty straightforward. It's where some men unconsciously, they'll split women into two categories. You've got the good woman who deserves respect, and the sexual woman who doesn't. When media shows women who are both powerful and sexual, or complex and loud, kind of disrupts that framework. So again, instead of engaging with that discomfort, some men react by rejecting the woman altogether. They might say, she's attention-seeking, or that's not what real women do. So it's not that, for some men, it's not that they hate women. Some men don't hate women. What's being challenged isn't women. It's this outdated definition of manhood. And unfortunately, we've given many guys, our men, the emotional toolkit of a houseplant when it comes to processing discomfort. And that feeling of being threatened, no one's ever offered a better version of masculinity, one that's based on respect and emotional maturity and shared power. That plays into why. I don't think the answer is to attack these men, and I'm not saying to indulge them, but to help them reflect. And if you find yourself that maybe you're one of these men, this can be very self-reflective. Why does it bother me? What story have I been told about women? And what about myself, my internal story? What are you listening to? Because I'll tell you, if your masculinity falls apart the moment a woman owns her body or her power, it might be time to man up. I'd love to hear what this stirred up for you. Your stories, your reflections, your own questions. Remember, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be real. Until next time.